long before modern civilizations rose in Tamriel, there existed a strange and mysterious species known commonly as the drehk, or in rare cases, cepholomer. These ancient creatures, part man, part octopus, were once said to have ruled the world in a time shrouded by myth and legend. Although they appear part human with their humanoid heads and torsos, they have no known language or advanced communication skills. Even so, people believe the drehk were once a mighty race, possessing intelligence and culture far beyond the capabilities of the simple beasts they seem today. Tales mention underwater castles made from coral and glass, populaces fed by efficient mudcrab farms, and more impressively, their expansion onto land, building colonies and stone cairn structures. But now the drehk are very different, devolved, you might say, into mere shadows of their former selves. Yet this claim is based on the assumption that the creatures have reduced in number, lost their ability to build, to farm, and to communicate, a fate I will discuss in just a moment, but for now I'd like to focus on the actualities. For most of their existence, the drehk are aquatic beings, lurking in the depths of the Abatian Sea before migrating into the lakes that feed the Iliac Bay. In these dark, briny waters, they hunt and scavenge, satiating their omnivorous diets with anything they can find, including the flesh of mer. I believe the most unusual and fascinating aspect of the drehk isn't their fall from grace like the legends say, rather their dual nature. During the course of their lives, the drehk shift from creatures of the sea to creatures of the land, undergoing a mysterious transformation known as carvinism. Once a year, as if summoned by an ancient call, the water drehk change, shedding their aquatic forms for a more terrestrial one, developing a thick carapace, lungs suited for air, and their tentacles are either replaced with or convert into legs, allowing the drehk to scuttle ashore, where they become land drehk, also known as billies. These billies are very dangerous, their sharp claws easily tearing through leather and flesh, and what's more, they now possess the ability to channel electrical shocks, a skill scholars believe isn't magical in nature, but a natural adaptation. Now on land, the drehk favour coastal marshes and rivers, laying vast amounts of precious eggs in muddy areas with nearby water, after which they rarely leave the egg's side, only stepping away to find food for themselves. During this time, the drehk are highly aggressive, and even the bravest of warriors know better than to encroach on their territory. Their eggs, however, are said to be quite delicious, leading to many fishermen and poachers risking their lives for a chance of profit. The few that succeed then live in fear until those sequestered eggs are consumed, as land drehk can naturally sense where their eggs have been taken and will relentlessly track them down, attacking ships and entire villages if that is what it takes to get them back. The eggs that survive give way to drehk hatchlings, which look nothing at all like their watery counterparts, so I assume these hatchlings live on the land before Archavina, the reverse process of carvinism. Then, after some time of living in the water, they experience the same calling as those before them, making their own pilgrimage to the shore, transforming again through carvinism, laying eggs, and repeating the cycle. But that is just a theory based on the information currently available, and even that has contradictions. Some believe water drehk and land drehk are two different species. Others say there's two varieties of land drehk, while few insist that's not the case, and they are in fact the male and female versions of the same creature. Until scholars make up their minds, I guess you can decide. As for the drehk that have successfully reared the next generation, they spend a single year living on the land, potentially training the hatchlings, before retreating back into the sea to complete the final stage of their life cycle, a bizarre process called meth. In this gruesome ritual, the drehk devour the parts of their bodies they no longer need. After digesting what they can, they expel the remains, disgusting, fibrous and foul-smelling balls called grom. For a long time this refuse had no known use, but Phantos Apillion, an aspiring mage longing to join the Mages Guild, discovered that Grom can be boiled, reshaped, and hardened into almost unbreakable flasks, perfect for clumsy mages and greasy sorcerers, but the drehk can offer so much more than Grom. Despite their fearsome nature, drehk are prized by the Dunmer for the materials they provide. Yes, there's Grom, but they also secrete a waxy substance with modest magical properties, a product sometimes used to make candles and even boot polish as well. Though uses go beyond simple cosmetics. Drehk flesh is similar to lobster, their limbs are weaponized, and their leathery-like skin is crafted into durable armor. It's safe to say that most, if not all of the creature can be used for one purpose or another. However, this is where things get weird, and I'm of course talking about the ancient legends that paint the drehk in a more reputable light, tales you should take with a hefty pinch of salt. According to Vivek, the drehk once ruled the world, and Daedric Prince Molag Bal had been their chief. Only back then, Molag had a different form, one suited for the ocean, described as spiny and armoured. In return for learning a new word of power, Vivek gave birth to thousands of monstrous children for Molag. And it was during this birth where Molag's dead shell, his old image if you will, fell into the world. This old image was discovered by a Velothi child. Wanting to impress his village, the boy foolishly donned the carapace, but in doing so, he became the Ruddy Man, the father of Drehk, a manifestation of the Daedric Prince of Domination. Vivek encountered the creature inside Kol Cave near the boy's village, close to what would later be known as Nisus in northwestern Vardenfell. Their confrontation was immediate and violent. The earth itself trembled beneath the weight of their clash, and the earth was forever scarred. Even now, those who wander through the West Gash claim they can still hear echoes of the ancient struggle. Swords scraping against stone, the gods' mighty grunts, and the sound of Vivek snapping the monster's legs like dry twigs. In the end, the Ruddy Man lay defeated, but for some reason, Vivek decided to spare his life, under the condition that the Ruddy Man's descendants, the drehk, willingly give up their hides to the Dunmer. And this could have been the beginning of their downfall. Many believe their constant conflict with the Dunmer, who relentlessly harvested the drehk for their hides and wax, is what's caused them to devolve further and further into the beings we see today. After the battle, Vivek took the Ruddy Man's shell, presenting the carapace to the Dreg Queen, who was in a mysterious period of self-incubation. As such, her wardens accepted the gift on her behalf and swore to guard it from the surface world. But as Vivek would soon learn, they weren't to be trusted. Because 10 years later, the Ruddy Man appeared again, this time near the distant city of Tyr on mainland Morrowind. The drehk had infused the shell with a greater power that twisted the wearer into something far more terrible than before. The poor unfortunate soul wearing the armour was a wayward shaman, a follower of the House of Troubles, a collective name given to 4 of the bad Daedra, those being Mehrunes Dagon, Malakath, Sheogorath, and Molag Bal. Vivek encountered the Ruddy Man once again, only now, thanks to the drehk's interference, the creature was gigantic, and judging by its feet, stained with the blood of 3 villagers, it was much more dangerous. However, Vivek had his own giant form and brought the creature down using something known as the Symbolic College. With the Ruddy Man defeated for the second time, Vivek retrieved the shell, taking it to the devout and loyal mystics of the Number Room. With Vivek's guidance, the sages transformed Molag's old image from a destructive shell into a grand symbol of transcendence, a philosopher's armour infused with wisdom, thought, and power, putting an end to the Ruddy Man, the father of Drehk. As for the rest of the Drehk, they became what we see today. For one reason or another, they turned into scavengers. Their once great civilization, ruled by a queen no less, crumbled. Their land colonies, now non-existent, and their farms, no more than myth. In recent times, there have been strange sightings and encounters with the drehk around Molag Mar. Here, a massive creature known as the Ruddy Broodmother has been terrorizing pilgrims and travelers, stirring memories of the ancient Ruddy Man himself. Whether this was merely a powerful drehk or something more has yet to be seen, but the Ashlanders know well enough to be wary of awakening old legends. For all their power and mystery, the drehk embody the dangers and ancient lore of Tamriel's seas. To the Dunmer, they are both a resource and adversary. To scholars, a remnant of an ancient world, perhaps the previous cycle, and to those brave enough to encounter them, a reminder that the depths hold secrets and threats older than memory itself.